Good morning. I'm Mark Howell, Clerk of the Town of Concord Select Board. This is a meeting of the Town of Concord Select Board on May 24th at 10:30 a.m. This meeting is being conducted virtually. The meeting is being recorded. If you don't consent to being recorded, disconnect or remain on mute. I'm going to call the roll. Ms. Ackerman?
Present.
Ms. Hartman is absent. She's traveling outside the country. I'm Mark Howell again, present. Mr. McKinnon?
Present.
And Ms. Ravelli?
Present.
Okay, we need a motion to elect a chair pro tem since Mary Hartman is away.
I make a motion that Mark Howell become pro tem chair.
Is there a second? Thank you. And I'll take a roll call vote. Ms. Ackerman?
Aye.
Mr. Hart, Ms. Hartman is not present. Mr. Howell, aye. Mr. McKinnon?
Aye.
Ms. Ravelli?
Aye.
And do I hear a motion for a clerk pro tem?
I'm willing to serve.
Thank you.
Okay, I make a motion that Wendy Ravelli be the clerk pro tem.
Second, and we'll call for a vote for that. Ms. Ackerman?
Aye.
I myself, aye. Mr. McKinnon?
Aye.
Ms. Ravelli?
Aye.
Okay, thank you so much. So thanks to everyone for attending this meeting of the Concord Select Board. Thanks to my colleagues on the board for accommodating the time-sensitive nature of this meeting. Thanks to the staff of the Town Manager's Office and Minuteman Media Network and the Town Clerk for their support as well. This meeting is being recorded. It is not streaming live, but it is expected to be posted very shortly on the Town of Concord YouTube. The Minuteman Media Network YouTube channel. At their May 21st meeting, the school committee took action regarding the middle school name. The select board is now in a position to take that action into consideration without impacting the special election schedule. Therefore, we have added this meeting to provide the opportunity to consider what action, if any, the select board will take on the special election ballot question. We will be taking public comment. However, due to our tight schedule, the plan is for 10 minutes of public comment prior to deliberation and potential action by the select board. I would note that Town Clerk Kari Tari is participating should the board need her assistance. I've invited the school committee to make a statement reporting their May 21 meeting action. We will hear that statement prior to public comment, and I would recognize Ms. Anderson, the chair of the school committee, for that statement at this time.
Hi, good morning, everybody, and thank you very much for inviting me to speak. I felt that it might make the most sense to share with you all today the press release that we put together for release yesterday regarding the vote that happened at our May 21st meeting. So for brevity, because I'm not always known for brevity, I thought I would simply read it to you. And I'll start that now. The press release reads, seeking to find a compromise, the Concord School Committee voted on Tuesday to name the new middle school building the Ellen Garrison Building at the Concord Middle School. With this vote, the Ellen Garrison Building will be the first public building in the town of Concord to be named for a person of color. The school will continue to be called the Concord Middle School. School Committee Chair Alexa Anderson stated, I'm excited to announce that the school committee has named the middle school building after Ellen Garrison, honoring her courage, bravery, and dedication to education. Compromise can be challenging, but it's an essential part of good governance. We teach our young people to listen to one another, ask good questions, and seek common ground. That's what we've aimed to do here as a committee. We believe that our action honors both those advocating for Ellen Garrison's name to be on a public building and also those who wish to honor the name of our shared community. The school committee wants to thank the many residents who suggested over 20 other notable names to the Concord Middle School and participated in our public process this winter. The school committee also wishes to thank residents who attended town meeting. Following town meeting, the school committee revisited the topic of the middle school naming at both our May 7th and May 21st meetings. Anderson added, "We look forward to opening the Ellen Garrison building at the Concord Middle School next year. This facility will foster an exceptional environment for teaching and learning, serving the next generation of students. The new facility under construction remains on schedule to open February of 25, and this single facility will replace the current middle school configuration, which includes 2 buildings located on 2 different sites." So thank you guys for letting me read that, and I hope it helps you inform the question you guys are here to ask today. Thanks so much.
Thank you. So now we'll move into our public comment period. I'll note that there are 73 participants in this meeting already. We'll take public comment via the raise hand function. We have received a great deal of email on this, and I know at least I have endeavored to read all of the email received up until even just a few minutes ago. And so if you have submitted a comment via email, you might consider letting someone who might not have done that make their comment. And we will restrict that to 2 minutes at most. And if you can be briefer than that, I'm sure other people will appreciate the opportunity to get a chance. So when you are called on, you'll be asked to unmute, and we're going to start with Miss Joanne Gibson.
Okay, Joanne is now a panelist, so she should be able to unmute herself and make her comment.
Okay, please unmute Ms. Gibson.
Is that fine? Is it done?
We can hear you.
All right. I did send a letter, so I'm going to keep this very brief because you don't need to hear from me all the time. But I just want to publicly express support for the school committee and their compromise, and to call on the select board to join in going forth with this compromise. And I also want the DEI to celebrate this compromise. They should be proud that the new Concord Middle School is going to bear, the building rather, will bear Ellen Garrison's name. And I think that if this issue is kept alive, at some point, you wonder what the D stands for. Does it stand for diversity, or does it stand for divisiveness? And I think that the town of Concord, it would be rather ironic if the Concord Select Board couldn't accept a compromise which includes the name Concord. You have the power to heal Concord, and I trust you will exercise it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gibson. Adrienne Principe.
Okay, she should be able to unmute now.
Hi, thanks. Adrienne Principe, 78 Neshoba Road. I also am here to show my appreciation for the school committee for all the work that they've done in the many, many months leading up to the decision that they made on Monday night. I think it's a wonderful compromise. I think that they listened to all the constituents. There are a lot of people in Concord who wanted the name of the middle school to be Concord Middle School. And we know that there were some that also wanted it to be the Ellen Garrison. And this sounds like a great compromise. I worry that the select board has in some ways overstepped its bounds by getting involved in something that, according to legal counsel, was solely the authority of the school committee. And I encourage you to now respect the work that they've done and the decision that they've made by not putting this on the upcoming ballot, and by now taking the time to heal what is a very divided community. And I encourage the DEI committee to do the same. Thanks.
Thank you. I'll call on Colleen Walston next.
All right.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I just wanted to say that I think it would be fair and proper to continue to have this as a ballot question. The town meeting vote was to name the middle school Ellen Garrison Middle School. And the school committee, I don't think that they have heard or understood that for whatever reason. It's not clear what the initial source of opposition is. It's not clear what the continued source of opposition to that is. There was one school committee member at the last meeting who tried to advance a vote on naming it Ellen Garrison Middle School, and nobody else was even willing to second that motion. So I think it is reasonable to continue to take this to the people. The idea of naming it the Ellen Garrison building at the Concord Middle School is really just still calling it Concord Middle School. There's only one building there and only plans for one building. So this isn't a case where people are going to refer to the building by a certain name, like you would have class in Davis Hall or Wilson House. So I don't see this reflecting the school committee having listened to the will of the people at town meeting. Thanks.
Thank you. Eric Van Loo.
Okay, he should be able to unmute.
There. Am I unmuted?
Yes, you are.
Thank you. I'm a very strong supporter of standing up for Ellen. I believe I have a sign in my yard. I believe that the best name for the school, for my personal preference, is Ellen Garrison Middle School. Having said that, and I was one of the people who voted at town meeting enthusiastically in favor, and it was an overwhelming vote. I also know that we had a school committee election a very short time ago, and my particular favored candidate got over 1,900 votes. She was in favor of Ellen Garrison School, but she was not elected. And instead, candidates got 400 and 900 votes more than her, and those were folks who favored Concord Middle School. So I have to acknowledge that in addition to my personal strong preference, we really do have two different points of view in our town, and the compromise decision includes both sides. It's clunky. I don't think it would get an A in English literature, but it is what it is. I think it was entirely appropriate for the select board on Monday to vote to put the question on the ballot at a time when it was not clear if and how the school committee was going to respond. But they have now responded. We do have a result, and I would urge the board to remove the question from the ballot at this point in time. During the debate, Superintendent Hunter and other members of the school committee repeatedly spoke of how inspired they were by Ellen Garrison, how it would become part of the curriculum. And I think that that will be put to the test in the coming months. I think that's the most important thing ahead for our town. And that can begin with how Ellen Garrison is featured and presented in the opening celebration for the opening of the school in February. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. I'll call on Kate now.
Sorry, you said Kate next.
Kate, yeah.
Hi, I'm Kate Kavanaugh, 409 Old Bedford Road. You guys know I'm a strong supporter of ranked choice voting, and with that in mind, my first choice is Ellen Garrison Middle School. My second choice was what Carrie suggested at the school committee meeting, which is Ellen Garrison Concord Middle School. To take away Ellen would be a missed opportunity. Including the word building is misleading and confusing. It's my understanding that elected officials are committed to represent the view of their constituents and fulfill their function. I very much appreciate the service of and all the time of our school committee and select board you've dedicated to this opportunity and to make a community statement by way of understanding to make a community statement. Good people can have different views, and it makes for a rich discussion. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you for your comment. Polly Reeve. I think you're unmuted, Polly.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity to talk. I did send a note, and I just want to reiterate what I said in my note, which is that I strongly support and would be so proud to have this beautiful new school named after Ellen Garrison. I can think of no one else at the moment who sums up so much of what we care about as a community that really stands for liberty and justice. I personally feel that naming the building after her, while I really appreciate the school committee's efforts to compromise, it doesn't really feel like a compromise to me. I think a compromise is better arrived at with the name Ellen Garrison Concord Middle School. And I would propose offering that as an option if the Ellen Garrison School is not one that we can support as a whole community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Polly. Michael Williams.
Thank you. I appreciate the work of the school committee, but I also appreciate the sentiment and understanding of our select board. This position for the placement of this issue on the ballot was to do two things: prevent the reputational damage to our community, and remind elected officials that they bear an appreciation of the people that both provide their budget and give them their authority. I think in what we witnessed at the school committee meeting, with several opportunities to answer the will of the town, the will of the town was not answered. The amendment to honor Ellen Garrison in some other fashion was overwhelmingly defeated, but we find a way of honoring Ellen Garrison in another manner presented again as the option. I would support the select board maintaining the wording and keeping this article on the ballot for June 25th, perhaps with a better understanding of the town's will. The school committee would have an understanding to reconsider Ellen Garrison Middle School or Ellen Garrison Concord Middle School as potential options. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And that's about 11 minutes of public comment. So I'm going to bring public comment to a close as we had announced. And now I'll ask each member of the board to express their view on the subject of the June 25 ballot question. Is there anybody who would like to go first?
Sure, I'm happy to kick it off. So, Cameron McKenna here, everybody. Thank you for taking the time with us today. Look, when faced with a challenge, sometimes I find it helpful to go back to some of my core principles. And when I campaigned for the select board position, I focused on three things. Number one was being fact-based and data-driven. Number two was following good process and governance. And number three was listening while seeking ways to strengthen and unify our town. So first of all, the facts. For the last 6 months, many good, smart, passionate people have debated the naming of our middle school, and there have been multiple forums that have enabled voices to be heard. My thanks goes out to all who have respectfully engaged in this important discussion. It should be noted that since Tuesday, the feedback that I've read has been substantially in favor of removing the ballot question. From a process and governance perspective, the school committee has the sole right to name our schools. They've heard all the voices and perspectives, and on Tuesday, I sat through their meeting and watched them engage in an open, constructive debate. At the conclusion of their discussion, they had a clear and definitive vote where they chose to retain the Concord Middle School name and to honor Ellen Garrison by naming the building after her. So we've collected the facts and we've followed the appropriate process to reach a very reasonable decision. I would ask what the purpose of promoting further debate through another non-binding question would be. And would this strengthen and unify our town? Given that a decision has already been made, I actually believe the opposite would occur. I think it's time to move on together. Let's revoke the non-binding middle school naming question, and let's get ready to celebrate the opening of the Ellen Garrison building at the Concord Middle School. So those are my thoughts, Mark. Thanks.
Thank you, Cameron. And after everybody's had a chance to speak, I'll ask for any motions that anyone might want to make. Terry or Wendy, would either of you like to go? Wendy,
When
or
you need to
you-
unmute.
Sorry, on Monday when we added this ballot question, we did that in part because the school committee had not really acknowledged the vote at town meeting, nor did they indicate that they would reconsider the name of the new building. Now, we subsequently know that on Tuesday night's meeting, they did do that and they did make a vote in that with the revised recommendation. During that process, there was a call for the name as proposed in Article 22, and it was not seconded, and therefore there was no action. At this time, I don't think that an additional ballot question is going to change that outcome, so I recommend removing the question from the ballot. I continue, however, to be concerned about the divisiveness within the community. We need to move forward, and we also need to restore the lost trust in our elected officials, and that's all of us. I would encourage the school committee at this time, though, to take swift and bold action to ensure the building signage is prominent and accompanied with permanent placking of Ellen's story in the building. This will truly demonstrate the sincerity and commitment to the compromise solution that they have reached. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. Terry?
I am really, can everyone hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
we can.
Okay, I am feeling very torn on this. I agree with a lot of what Cam and Wendy just said. We do need to listen to the community. We need to unify. And we need to get the facts. What is the will of the people? And we need to move on. So in the emails that we've received this in the last 2 days, it seems about 50-50 to me, which would argue in favor of doing a ballot question. On the other hand, I am very concerned about the divisiveness. I like Wendy's suggestion a lot that the school committee should make sure to have very good signage or placards saying Ellen Garrison. I'm thinking about one of the emails we got that specifically said how Ellen was a wonderful teacher and role model, and that an Ellen Garrison building doesn't do her justice because building is bricks and mortar. So it's a compromise, and not my first choice. But on the other hand, we need to move on as a community. So I'm feeling very torn at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. My view is that the town meeting did ask the school committee to reconsider their prior decision and recommended a specific outcome, the Ellen Garrison Middle School. And of course, as a matter of law, as been stated over and over, it is the school committee's authority to do so. My goal in suggesting the question for the June 25 ballot was to propose a vehicle through which the preference of the community as a whole could be expressed. It was in response to concerns I was hearing about how representative town meeting is. It also reflected the concern that reconsideration as requested by town meeting might not be taking place. The ballot question, as with the town meeting action, would represent input to the school committee as decision makers, and such votes are advisory, not directives. The school committee did take action on Tuesday evening. They reconsidered the middle school name and chose to recognize Ellen Garrison by naming the building. In doing so, I believe they have fulfilled their obligation to take town meeting's recommendation into account. That action is also a commitment to the values of courage and service that we have come to understand about the story of the life of Alan Garrison. That story and its stewardship now resides with the Concord Middle School community. I look forward to seeing it embraced and well cared for there. We've made a huge investment of time, money, and effort in the new middle school building. And it's time for our community to reflect on what we have learned about ourselves and take these lessons forward to further the work of education. Thank you. If anyone would like to make a motion, this would be the time.
So
Go ahead.
go
Wendy.
ahead, Cam.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we remove the original ballot question that we had proposed on Monday night related to the naming of the school.
Is there a second?
Yeah, I second.
Thank you, Cameron. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, I'll take a roll call vote. Ms. Ackerman?
Aye.
Myself, aye. Mr. McKinnon?
Aye.
Ms. Ravelli?
Aye.
And that's a vote. And so we'll ask the town clerk to remove the question that we voted on Monday night. Unless there's any further comments, I believe we can adjourn. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion to adjourn. Yes.
Second.
And Ms. Ackerman?
Aye.
Mr. Howell, aye. Mr. McKinnon?
Aye.
Ms. Ravelli?
Aye.
Thank you so much. We appreciate everybody's participation.
Thanks for your.